I'm not an expert on many things, but on these subjects, I know a lot. I know how someone ends up on Skid Row. I know how do you get off, and I know all the problems that are happening.
Would you
And
mind
the
starting with your story?
mismanagement.
Maybe share with the audience your story.
Yeah, sure. I was born in Boston, Massachusetts. My parents were both heroin addicts. I still had like a relatively okay childhood, but around the age of like 8 or 9, they started smoking crack. And crack is very unmanageable. Things got very dark very quickly. And fortunately, I have extended family. I was adopted when I was 12, and I moved to Oakland, California. So I lived with my aunt and uncle in Oakland who weren't drug addicts. So I had a pretty normal middle school, high school, but probably had a propensity for some kind of abuse, alcohol, drugs. I drank a lot in high school, and I landed at college, and Oxycontin was really big. This is like 2007, 2008.
How old are you, by the way? Just out of curiosity.
Right now, I'm 35.
Okay, 35 years old.
35. Yeah.
So Oxycontin's big in, you said 2008, 2009?
Yeah, 2007, 2008, Oxycontin's everywhere. First of all, heroin's everywhere. Heroin's on the campus. Like, my friends are doing heroin.
And this is what school?
This is UC Santa Cruz.
UC Santa Cruz,
UC
they're
Santa Cruz.
doing heroin.
People were doing heroin, yeah. I was in the art dorm. I don't recommend it.
Now, let's go back. If you're
Yeah.
talking about, like, at the beginning stages. So parents both did heroin,
Yeah.
right? And I read somewhere that the first time they got arrested is when you were 12 years old?
That's not the first time they got it. CPS was involved in my childhood. My mom got arrested throughout my childhood for possession of heroin. CPS would come. In my opinion, I should have been taken away a lot earlier, but the state didn't get very involved.
And when they did, what was it like? And maybe even your parents, were they trying to protect you and say, hey, don't tell anybody we're using this? Or was it in the open where you would come home and you would see mom and dad pass out? What was that like?
No, they were pretty good. My dad was a union carpenter. He held a job basically up until the last few months. He held a job, and they hit it pretty well. And they told me, hey, this person's going to come talk to you. Tell them that we make you breakfast and that we make you wear a helmet when you ride your bike and stuff like that. They're going to ask you questions like that, and I'd exaggerate and I would lie and convince CPS that my parents are doing a good job, and they were doing a pretty good job, But once they started smoking crack, it was, they both lost a significant amount of weight. They were hallucinating. They were thinking that the CIA was surrounding the house all the time. And I basically was fending for myself from about age 7 to 12.
And what does that mean, fending for myself? Food, taking care of everything?
Yeah, like any kind of like decision of like, okay, are you going to go to school? Like, I decided to go to school most of the time.
It wasn't like you better have good grades, you better wake up and go to school. That's not the norm for you.
There wasn't a lot of that, but my parents also were involved in drug trafficking, so there was money. There was like boxes of cash in my basement, and they would just hand me money basically, and just say, "You're doing the food shopping, go get food." And if you're 9 years old, you're going to buy pizza and Coca-Cola, so I just lived on that. And
any siblings or just you?
No siblings.
Just you. And those are your biological parents?
Those are my biological parents.
And did your mom, how old was your mom how old were you when she passed away?
I was 14 years old.
And what was that experience like for you at that age? Were you like, I know this is coming? Every day you're worried about the day you hear that your mom's no longer here?
Yeah, it was somewhat expected. I mean, I had been adopted when I was 12 with the plan of, okay, we're going to send both of them to rehab. It turns out you can leave rehab.
And when you say adopted, it's important for the audience to know your aunt adopted you. If I'm right.
My aunt in Oakland adopted me, and their plan for my parents was to send them to rehab.
Okay.
They both voluntarily left rehab, and basically just got high, and they had $600,000 in the basement when I got taken away.
Are you kidding?
No, they had $600,000
from the trafficking.
Yeah, from like mid-level, just people come, pick up a box, they leave. My dad grew up in like a neighborhood, had some connections, and that ended though once they got arrested and I was taken away. They put up bail or whatever. They got out. The agreement was to go to rehab. They sort of shuffled in and out. They voluntarily left and just got a probation deal, basically. And somehow we're beating the drug test and just kept getting high. And after, I don't know, about a year and a half, they ran out of that $600,000.
In a year and a half.
Yeah, about a year and a half. Yeah.
What was the phone call you got when you know your mom's no longer with you?
It was the day that I graduated 8th grade. It was actually the day before I graduated 8th grade. We did like a mock graduation to practice. I came home. I looked at my aunt. I just knew. I don't know. My aunt, she was crying. I knew what she was about to tell me. And family members prior to that had said, one of them might have to die to save the other one, because they're just too codependent, and they're just operating like they've always operated for many years. So, my mom did pass, but my dad eventually got it together. So I don't know if he would have been able to do that without the wake up call, basically.
So he's still fine today.
No, he passed last year, but he was sober or he got off drugs in 2011.
Wow. So he got off drugs in 2011, dies last year. Cause, what was the cause?
He was not in the greatest shape from abusing drugs. I mean, he used heroin on and off for like 45 years, and then the crack and the alcohol. It was just, he was 71, and he just had a rough life.
Well, you guys had a relationship.
Yeah, we had a great relationship. I was flying out here all the time. He actually lived here.
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale.
Oh,
yeah.
very cool. Well,
Yeah.
sorry for your loss. That's like,
oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's tough. It's a year ago, but
yeah,
at least you were able to rekindle that relationship and, kind of have some stories and connections outside of the memories you had from back in the days with what he and your mom were going through.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, listen, he was a great man, and he sobered up, and I saw him a lot, and I spent a lot. I was there when he died. I was here to take care of him, and he was just honored that his son got sober and could come and actually take care of him when he was in need.
How old were you the first time you started using?
Heroin specifically?
Anything.
Probably 10. Smoked weed.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
Started drinking probably around 13, 14. And, didn't abuse it, but, well, I guess I did abuse it. I mean, I drank heavily in high school. Every weekend, blacking out.
Every weekend blacking out?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
This is in Northern California now?
Yeah, Northern California.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how about the hard stuff? When do the hard stuff show up?
I'd say freshman year of college, all my friends were experimenting with heroin. My parents were heroin addicts, so I was like super against that. But Oxycontin was floating around. So, at some point when I was 18, I tried an Oxycontin. It was the greatest feeling I ever felt. And slowly over sophomore year, I sort of replaced drinking with Oxycontin. Started selling Oxycontin. Got very addicted. Started using it every day. And I did some Google research. I realized Oxycontin is essentially heroin. And it's a lot cheaper. And it's a lot more powerful, so I made the switch to heroin.
When that happened, do you remember the moment where you're like, I'm going to start, even though and you saw what happened to your parents? Do you remember the first time you used heroin?
Yeah, I do. I smoked it on tinfoil the summer before sophomore year with a friend, and he never got really addicted to it, but he was sort of messing around with it, and I remember putting the straw to my lips and smoking it, and knowing my mom died from this. But I couldn't, it was over. I was already addicted to opiates, and but it was sort of a monumental moment.
For you.
Yeah.
Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with Valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New Future Looks Bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the Valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with Valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.